Hello everybody and welcome to episode number 2 of the Zmodeler3 tutorial series for making a non-ELS GTA 5 police vehicle. In this episode we are going to cover some prep work on our light bar. Now that we have it placed onto the car and in the position we want it, there's a couple of things we have to do before we can actually get ready to make it work. So let's begin, shall we? So the first thing we're gonna disable our car model. We don't need it right at the moment. The next thing we're gonna need to do is we're gonna do a little bit of UV mapping. I'm gonna show you how to do that. And essentially on this light bar, depending on what colors you want it to do, because this is a police vehicle, we're gonna do red and blue with amber traffic advisor in the back of the light bar. And we're gonna be prepping the light bar to be an extra. So I'm going to try and keep this video as short as possible. With that being said, the next video will go more into depth of getting the light ready to go to make it work. This is just going to be a little bit of final prep work we have to do left on the light. So now depending on how you want your lights to be set up, we can have it either as an extra, which is toggleable to be on or off. So in setting it up as an extra is something we would do if we were having visor lights on a model and a light bar. So that's an instance where you would want to do it as an extra. If you're just doing just a set of visor lights or just a light bar, you don't necessarily have to have it as an extra. We can label it as a misc item. So we're going to click here our bar, which is our main portion of the light bar. We're going to go and we're going to rename that for our purpose to extra_1. If you're doing it as a miscellaneous part, rename that and go to misc_A, and the miscellaneous parts go from A through Z. So for our purpose, extra_1, which is great. Now for our glass bit, we're going to call this siren_glass1, and we're going to hide that. So now we're looking at just our emissive textures, and what we have to do now is we have to break our lights away from each other. So we have our red and our blue, which are already broken down into their red side and their blue side, but as you can see, we have two takedown lights and an alley light on each side that we have to break away and make as its own sections so we can enable them and turn them on and off as extras down the road. So we're going to take our quad R tool, we're going to go into our top view for this. This is the easiest view we can possibly get for it. We're going to go and we're going to go, if my mouse wants to work, we're going to polygon mode. We're going to click and turn the model. We're going to go and select this one and this one, and we're going to go over to our modify. We're going to go to our modify, we're going to detach polygon from the object. With this, you want to click your little arrow and make sure keep originals off. In this instance, sometimes you want it on, sometimes you don't. Depends on what you're doing. Now we're going to click, you're going to see that now it's the parts away. So I'm going to rename this the takedowns. Perfect. Now I'm going to reselect the light bar, click back up on polygon, and we're going to take, this is our left alleyway, so left alley, we're going to disable, we're going to select it again, polygon mode, or right alley, we're going to go right alley, deselect it. Now on this model, I'm going to break up and have 4 amber modules in the back. So we're going to take and we're going to do them in sections of 2. So I'm going to take these 2 because I still want a red one on the back of the vehicle. Emissive, we're going to change this to, rename it to amber. We're going to disable. We're going to right click, select it again, and we're going to go and select the other 2. We're going to click it and we're going to go amber as well. So because I want this light bar, because we're only doing just a light bar for this tutorial, I'm not going to cover doing a whole full build with a whole whack of crazy things on it. So we're gonna go with a light bar. We're gonna make it emit light all the way around 360 degrees. So we are gonna take our front lights here and our front lights here, and we're gonna break those off so we have a set of red front lights and a set of blue front lights. So back into polygon mode. We're gonna click. We're gonna take these two emissive blue. That's exactly what we want. So I'm gonna hide it. I'm gonna select it again. I'm gonna take the select it again. Go into polygon mode. Select the other two. And I'm gonna click emissive red. That's what I want. Do it again, and we're gonna do this for every single one because we want, when we make it, we want to make sure that each individual emissive texture will throw light in the direction it's facing. So we will do it. Oh. Perfect. And awesome. So now we're gonna go back through. We're gonna enable everything for our lights. Go in there. So now we have all these different emissive textures for each direction that our light is facing. Because we're doing a 360 bar, we have to set it up like this. If I was doing side lights, I wouldn't necessarily have to do it like this. It just all depends on the build you're doing, and you'll figure out your own way to do things as you go. Figure out Zmod. This is just a basic tutorial to show you basic bare bones of getting it ready and being able to do your own thing and figuring out a lot more the complex ways to make things yourself. So now we have an issue. We have our two amber lights back here, but they're still red and blue. So I'm gonna disable everything, but I'm gonna keep our two ambers on. Now we're gonna do something called UV mapping, which you will do a lot of depending on what you're doing. If you're doing an all red light setup or a red and white light setup for a fire vehicle, a all blue or all blue and white setup for some sort of law enforcement vehicle, or a red and blue setup, or even an all amber setup for a tow truck or a security vehicle or something of that nature, and you want to change the colors. So we're going to select our parts here. We're going to right click, we're going to map, go to mapping, edit UV, and we're going to make sure keep old mapping is checked and that nothing else like generate new or force mapping onto a material is on. The default settings like this are fine to keep on as long as we make sure we're not forcing it onto a new map and that we're keeping it to its old one. So we're gonna go into our top view. We're gonna go click our little box here. We're gonna go down to UV mapper, and then I'm gonna enlarge this so we can see. In the bottom corner, we're gonna go material. We're gonna select emissive. So now this is our texture. This is the two blue that we have and the two red that we have. So we're going to select the two red ones. We're going to make sure it's just our y-axis turned on. We're going to select our move tool, and we're just going to drag it up and put it into the yellow texture and deselect it. And then we're going to select the two red ones. We're going to pull them down, and we're going to make sure we get them aligned pretty closely here. And we're going to deselect them. And I'm going to minimize that window back to our 4 panes, and look at that. We have our amber lights. So now I'm going to go back to the top view. I'm going to deselect those. So now let's turn on all of our extras here and see what we get. Now, looking at this light bar, I only see a blue light and a red light. And clearly, through the hierarchy, that's not how the light bar is supposed to be. So it seems we're missing some textures here. And this is a quick fix. Oh, Zmod's doing its an autosave. we'll let Zmod do what it needs to do to get this done so we can continue on happily on our way. Now this might take a little bit longer than normal because we've been messing around with some things. And we have our light, excuse me. We have our light bar on. Okay, so if you come across this issue, and you will, a lot of the times, 95% of the time, you're going to run into something like this where you're not seeing everything. Especially if you're putting lights on the interior of a car facing outwards. So we're going to take and find our siren underscore glass, or glass, or whatever you've named it while we do this. And if you turn it on and off, well, lo and behold, textures show up. So we're going to drag this and we're going to drag it down underneath all of our emissive textures and then turn it back on. You'll notice that if I drag this into here and put it and move the light bar inside the interior of the car, those light emissives will disappear. A way to fix that while you're still building your vehicle, because if you're putting some dash lights in, you want to know where the lights are so you can see how it looks. You just change around the hierarchy. You just move your base model, which is Police 2, underneath whatever you have on the inside. That's how I deal with that issue when I'm putting interior lights in. I just keep moving down my base model. But in this case, because it was just the top light bar, we don't have to worry about that. So now, for the most part, we have everything we want ready to go in this case. Now we're going to do some naming of some things, because GTA won't pick these up as emissive blue, emissive red, amber, left alley, right alley, takedown. Unfortunately, it's not how the way it works. So the next thing I'm going to show you, it's on my Discord. You can also find it on some of the modding website forums, and some dev discords. They have some documents and stuff floating around, but they are on my Discord in a channel called Development Resources. So if you join that Discord, the link is in the description. You can get the resources that I use primarily all the time to vehicles, because it's a lot of it to remember. So I'm going to show you a couple tricks here. So I'm going to open this notepad file. So we have in GTA Siren 1 through 20 to work with non-ELS. This is what the light flashes from, per se. This is how GTA knows what texture flashes and things like that. So you have 20 of them to work with, from 1 through 20, on your car. So we're going to try and use as many of these as we can, because we are doing a 360-degree build on this light bar, so I want lights to flash in all directions, because we're not adding any more lighting onto the vehicle other than the light bar. So we have, this is my template how I keep track of everything, because there's several different key pieces of information you're going to need to remember, or write down, take a picture of, so later on we can get the steps working. So on my Discord, here is another piece of information you are going to want to have. Depending, don't need to go off this guide, just tells you the direction of the lights, just to make it easier if you're going through and picking out your lights. You don't necessarily need to follow the colors, because we can change that. It's just to give you a rough estimate, an idea what sirens to use. So we're going to find our left alleyway light. We're going to disable our siren, everything but the lights. So this is our left alley. We're going to call this one siren 1. And in our notepad file, under siren 1, I'm going to write left alley. And I'll disable siren 1. So now it's gone. I know immediately siren 6 is our other alleyway lights, so I'm going to go siren 6 on our right alley. Under siren 6, I'm going to put right alley. I know that I normally do siren 17 is takedowns. So siren 17 will be our takedowns. And under here, siren 17, takedowns. Perfect. So, now we're going to open this back up. Siren 2 will be one of our front lights. So let's find our front facing red lights. Siren 2. And in our notepad, front red. Siren 3 is one of the back reds. So, siren 3 is our back red. Rear red. Siren 4 is a back blue. So let's find our back blue, which I believe is this one. Siren 4. Rear blue. Siren 5 will assign to our front blue. Where are they? Siren 5. Blue. And the reason we're doing this notepad to keep track of everything is because we are going to have several other key pieces of information. So let's see, let's find 11 and 12 will be for our amber. Siren 11. Siren 12. I can spell it right. Oh. Siren 12. 11. Rear amber. 12. Rear amber. Oh, whoops, wrong tab. So, we need 4 more for our lights here. So we'll do 7, 8, 9, and 10. I keep clicking on wrong tabs. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's go. I want to turn this on, and just to make sure we know where we are oriented here. So this one is my right rear, and that I said was siren 7. It's right rear, right rear blue. Siren 8 will, oh, siren 8 will be our right front blue. Disable that. Siren 9 is our left front red. And siren 10 is our left rear red. Good, and now in the empty space, I'm just spam nothing. Just so we know when we go to look over this, we can skip these. And I'm going to save that file. So now, our lights are, for the most part, set up for the next stage, which is going to be its video on itself, because it'll take an hour, hour and a half to go through the complete steps to get this ready. So the next video we will be covering the dummies, scaling and rotating of our lights, because that takes a little bit longer, and if I continue on in this episode, it's going to be a 2-hour long video, and unfortunately I don't think a lot of people want to sit through a 2-hour long video to figure out how to do this. So we will leave this one off here. nice, short, simple, sweet video. And in the next one, we will continue on with doing our dummying, our rotating, our scaling, which is the most tedious part of this because we need to make sure we get everything right or it won't work. So, just to recap what we did. In this video, we did UV mapping, which was our amber lights that we made. We did some detaching, which we used our tool up here, detaches polygon from object. We viewed polygon mode yet again. We did that in the first episode. And we did basic prep work, setting up, naming our lights. So that is that. We will continue on in the next episode again, where we will cover the dummying, the rotating, and the scaling. Again, if you need any support whatsoever, our Discord server link is in the description. Join it, ask away. There's a bunch of modelers in there that will be happy to answer your questions, including myself and some of my most trusted people in my community. If you need any more support at all, any questions for anything we covered in this video or the last video, we are more than welcome to answer for you. With that being said, we're going to leave it off here, and I'll see you next time.